All right. Hey, welcome everybody, and welcome to the Wasteland. That's right.
We're ready. We're
doing
safe in our roots
through
for now.
season 1.
Yes,
So,
season 1, season 2 is coming.
December 17th, season 2 will drop. But before we get into all that, I think we have some news, and I think we have some kind of stuff to talk about with the news.
We got all kinds of stuff to talk about here. I have Star Trek news tonight, so let me do the non-Star Trek news first. Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, you guys know them. They may be reuniting for another Mummy adventure. Filmmakers Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, who are call themselves Radio Silence, I guess that's their production company, are set to direct the 4th installment. If they can kind of recapture some of the fun that was the very first Mummy, I'm so down for this because I loved that movie.
It's been so long, they're mummies. They're the mummies now.
That's all right.
I agree. The first one was good, and this franchise
kind of went from there. Yeah.
It fell off as a lot of them do, and unfortunately. But I agree, the first one was fun. I think the other thing that made the first one really good was it was another jump in special effects.
Yes,
there was
all that sand stuff.
All the sand stuff that they did a lot. That was amazing.
Yeah,
some of the CGI that worked for its time. Anyway,
yes, yeah. Moving on, a new Buck Rogers remake is in the work at Legendary Pictures. A Buck Rogers movie is in the works with the writer Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells is a comic book writer who wrote the Deadpool and Wolverine comics. He's working on the latest draft of the screenplay. I have no idea where in production this is. Like, I don't know if it's got a green light. I don't know if it's just a bunch of screenplays. I don't know if it's just a twinkle in Zeb's eye. I don't know, but that might be happening. All right, let's talk some Star Trek news tonight. First of all, I am very sorry to report that Ralph Sininsky has passed at age 102. He was a television director and screenwriter. We know him best for his 6 episodes of Star Trek, the original series that he directed. But guys, go look at his IMDb. He directed, if it was on TV in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s, Ralph probably directed it. Like, his IMDb is unreal. It's every show we ever watched from that era.
Yeah. A loss, although he had a very long and very productive life. He was over 100.
Yes, he was 102.
Yeah.
At the time of his passing.
You really can't expect more than that.
Patrick Stewart is set to officially retire, maybe, or at least that's what Marvel thinks. Sir Patrick will return as Professor X in Avengers Doomsday. Supposedly, this is his final acting role after an incredible run in the role. He did 7 X-Men films as Professor X.
Oh, he goes all the way back to what, the 90s was the 90s, first one?
I think. Yeah. Avengers Doomsday premieres December 18th, 2026, so a year from now. Here's the thing, guys. As I was trying to research this, is Patrick retiring? Every article I read about it was through the view of Marvel. It was like Marvel reports, Marvel says, Marvel. I did not see anything from the Star Trek side. I gotta wonder about that. Is he like, is he just retiring from Marvel? And he'll still do Picard, or is he retiring? And Star Trek just hasn't announced it, and they'll roll it into the 60th anniversary stuff. How?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be surprised if we see him as Picard again.
I would too. I would be very surprised.
He didn't really want to do the last show.
Thank God he did. It was so good.
Well, I don't mean the last season. I mean all of Picard.
Yeah.
And had it been left to him, season 3 wouldn't have been that good, because the first 2 seasons were kind of how he wanted it to go. And no offense there, Sir Patrick, it sucked.
The first 2 seasons didn't go. Third season was fine.
Because Terry Matalas decided, they all just said, it's the last season. What are they going to do? Cancel us? They all knew. So
right?
He went and did whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah. So it was just kind of weird. I'll be keeping an eye out to hear, if the Star Trek peeps announce this or what's going on. But for the moment, Marvel is announcing the retirement of Sir Patrick Stewart. And something I want to talk to you about, Rizzo, I want to hear your opinions on this. Paramount Skydance has pretty more or less kind of officially said no more Kelvin timeline. That means no more Chris Pine, no more Zach Quinto.
They killed the last. Yeah, the 4th movie's not going to happen apparently, and they're done with the Kelvin timeline.
Yep. So as recently as Star Trek Las Vegas, writers and performers were saying, "Hey, yeah, we're ready to go again." And Paramount. But here's the thing. Here's what I want to talk to you about. Is there's a couple of external outside things that may affect this. I don't know what's going on with Star Trek at Paramount. I don't, because Paramount right now is in chaos and confusion with the Skydance merger. But there's external things that can actually impact Star Trek. One is that Taylor Sheridan, you guys know him. He's the Yellowstone guy.
He's written everything on Paramount. He's written.
Yes, yeah. He just got poached by NBC Universal. He'll be leaving Paramount and going to NBC Universal at the end of 2028. That means no more Yellowstone and all the other Yellowstone.
Well, Yellowstone was done anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
right now, their biggest streaming shows are the Yellowstone craps, and then Star Trek comes in second. So now all this stuff will be gone.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that David Ellison, head of Skydance, wants to possibly buy Warner Brothers Discovery, and he's also interested in merging with HBO Max. That would be insane. That would put Star Trek TV shows in with TV shows like White Lotus, House of Dragon, Last of Us. Like, it would be just crazy. They'd be competing for money, but the quality might go up.
Well, I don't. Probably what CBS spent on Discovery and all the other shows and Stranger Worlds is probably on par with what HBO is spending on White Lotus or any of those other shows. So I'm not really sure.
One would think HBO.
Because you think HBO is going to do a better job than Paramount?
I don't know. HBO cranks out some good TV shows. Like, they've got quality shows.
But they've had their duds.
You know where else I could see Star Trek going that would treat it well? Apple.
That would probably be better than HBO, but
I think HBO would treat it well. But if it went to HBO, I feel like it would at least be adult Star Trek. Like, finally, we would have grown up Star Trek. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I think the problem first. Well, I mean, let's kind of go back to the beginning of what you started to talk about, because you had a whole long arc there.
I know there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. Yeah.
So, Kelvin timeline. They basically said that's done. That's tired. And the last movie tanked financially. So I think that let's let that one rest in peace, because it really never got its footing. There were some good things about it, but there was too many bad things about it. And I think the biggest problem that all of these production companies that are producing Star Trek have lost basically since Enterprise is the understanding of what Star Trek is supposed to be and what it means and what its stories are supposed to be. Star Trek was not a character-driven show. Star Trek was a story-driven show. When you really think about it, we didn't really know in the original series any of the really much backstory about Kirk, Spock, or McCoy, or Scotty. We didn't know what their backstories were, where they came. A little bit here, but it was always the story of the adventure that they were in and their interactions with each
We
other.
didn't know, but we didn't need it either. Yeah, you're right. It was the current
because it wasn't about the characters.
It wasn't about
It wasn't about their relationships. We get fast forward to Discovery, and that's all it's about.
It was about the relationship, but it was about the aspect of the relationship, how well they work together.
It was
not
about them together, not an emotional relationships, but on a professional level. And well, there was some friendships there. But my point is that when we get to Discovery, it's all about their backstory, their feelings, and who was traumatized as a child. They all had trauma in their children. Nobody grew up, good times noodle salad. They all had something in their past that caused them to be who they are. And that's the difference. I don't think it works, quite frankly. I mean, maybe it works for the younger generations enjoying it. I don't care for it. I'd rather see a good story written. We don't see that. So, does Star Trek need to be rebooted again? I don't know. Like you said, would Apple or HBO do a better job of it? I mean, certainly Disney didn't do anything with Star Wars. I mean, yeah, there's some good stuff. As a whole, there's more bad there than there was good.
I guess.
When you look at it since Disney took over, there's a lot more. I think there's more bad than there was good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Star Trek is. I don't know what they were trying to do. I guess the point was of the current stuff is they're trying to get in that younger generation, but the younger generation just doesn't seem to care about it.
No, they really don't.
So
it doesn't have it's not hooking them the way it hooked us, because it's not because even they don't want to hear the trauma of some space explorer.
It's just it's a good story. I mean, there's so many, it's like, I think I told you, I was rewatching, things like The Expanse, which I know is based on a book series. But I mean, the story is so good. And yes, there is relationships in there and stuff like that, but they're woven into the story.
It's not trauma.
It doesn't seem like, we're having another drama moment.
Even on Disco, when they did science, they would have Tilly yell, "That's the power of math, people!" Like, no, just
that was
science.
Just embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Just science the fuck out of it and then walk on, move on. Don't.
Well, that was, of course, a big deal because that was the first F-bomb. That was before the Picard one, and people were very upset about that because they didn't want. So because Star Trek was always something you could have your children watch, and and then you got Tilly F-bomb, and then you got Picard.
It didn't. Picard. You know what? It actually didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me, but I'm an adult, and I guess if I had a kid, maybe. And my kid, of course, has a sailor mouth because of me anyway, so. I'm not really one to, as a parent. I'll admit it. She comes by it honestly, as my wife would say. But anyway.
So no more Kelvin. And then we don't know.
So they don't know. It's in flux. I mean, they killed Lower Decks, which was a good show. And then, so where's Strange New Worlds is already they're shooting season 4?
No, they've already 4 is done. 4 has aired. So they've shot 5. About to shoot. No, I'm sorry. 3 just aired. We're about to see 4 and 5, and that's it. 5's the end, and 5's not a full season. 5 is a very abbreviated 6 episodes, I believe.
Shorter than normal.
Yeah.
The normal. Big deal. And I imagine it's going to lead us right to Pike's accident. And then what are they hoping that?
Which is what I said a couple weeks ago. You're like, no, that already happened.
Take over as Kirk, and we're gonna don't do that. Please don't.
Whatever.
Please don't. Whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like you said, we won't know until with Skydance and everybody else, and
until all these mergers either happen or don't happen or whatever.
People are getting fired over at Paramount left and right, unfortunately, or laid off.
Yeah, it's not a good scene right now.
It's not a good scene. So we'll see. Right now, we're just in holding pattern. So
one giant holding pattern. Yep. In happier news, Halloween at the Set tour. A good time was had by all.
We did good, and we have pictures. I have some pictures.
We have pictures. We have proof that Halloween happened.
I'm going to put up pictures and see if you recognize this person.
See if you recognize that dog.
So the dog is the dog from Enemy Within.
Enemy Within, yeah.
I don't remember
Species Alpha 177.
Yeah. So the dog that was basically had a lion's mane with a unicorn horn.
Oh, on the show, the dog had a whole costume. My dog only tolerates so much, so she gets her head on, and then she's done.
And you are Amanda, Spock's mother.
I am Amanda Grayson, mother of Spock, wife of Sarek of Vulcan.
So, and there we are. There we are, the Mystery Machine. We, of course, they had there's another shot later. The kids would they block off that main street in front of this tour, and the kids will come around getting candy. So we were, of course, dressed up as Scooby-Doo, and Brian was there somewhere as Fred, but he wasn't.
And Tim was running around as, there I am as Amanda. So side note on the Amanda costume, I was talking about this last week. Those of you who have been following Doug Drexler's movie, Trek Star, the Doug Drexler documentary, they are still running their Kickstarter. They are still trying to raise money for that movie. And they ran a little contest to pick you had to submit yourself in a Star Trek costume, could be from any time. You had a hashtag Trek Star Halloween, and they picked winners at random, completely at random, and I was randomly chosen as
you got first place.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But I guess so. You got Worf's nose.
I got Worf's nose. Very excited, trying to figure out.
I can't wait. I want to see it. You'll have to wear it for us.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I can wear it. Why not? But I want to get it and then get it like on a thing or mounted somehow. So
put it in like a little shadow box or something. Maybe hopefully Doug
put it in a shadow box so it can be signed.
Certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
So there you are with Paul.
I dragged my ex along.
Wife attend.
Person who I am with. Yes, I made him dress as Sarek halfway against his will, dragged him with, and I think he had a good time.
He was a good sport.
Yeah, he was a good sport. There he is doing his thing, being Sarek. There you
are. You recognize. This is my best Kelsey Grammer. Remember that one Next Gen episode where Kelsey Grammer was the captain of the other ship?
You know what? Somebody was telling me you look like Kelsey Grammer.
So that was
my character's name.
Like Captain something.
Yeah.
He only had 2 seconds of dialogue, but yeah. So there's my Monster Maroon.
Here.
Rolled it out.
Here's the costume contest announcement from Doug.
This guy didn't make it, unfortunately.
But what I wanted to say, guys, and I wanted to ask all of you if you would be good enough. No, that's one of Dr. McCoy. He's dead, Jim.
And we have these. He had these ones that the skulls lit up. I don't know, but they were.
Yeah, I don't know. They lit the skulls up.
Doug is so bad, but there's Captain Kirk has been at this desk way too long.
Yeah. As of right now, which is 7:18 p.m. on Wednesday, November 5th, Doug is at 97,002 out of his 165,000. I'm going to put the Kickstarter in the chat here. I know a lot of you guys have already donated. We've already asked everyone to donate. I'm going to actually ask you to please, please, please share this link. Share it far and wide. Doug has another almost 70 is my math's not strong suit. 70,000 to go in the next 2 weeks. This thing ends in 2 weeks. It ends Wednesday, November 19th.
He's got it quite a bit.
If you could share it everywhere.
He's sharing it everywhere. So I wanted to point out this is Gina. I forgot her last name.
Gina Cook.
Cook, right. So she was volunteering. You might see her. She's kind of one of our new people that's been hanging about. And I loved her costume because if you guys watched, which we did last year,
We Do in
the Shadows, the TV show, she was the character Nadia. And Nadia had a little doll that is alive because Nadia's spirit, because Nadia is a vampire, so her spirit is in the doll.
Yes.
So
and the doll talks.
And the doll talks. It's really quite funny. So good costume.
She looked good. And she had the fangs and everything, and they stayed on the whole day. I was impressed with her.
Yeah, it was a good costume. So, there's the guys that are just salt now.
That's the engineering.
Yeah, a little dehydrated. They need to. You got to hydrate. There she is again with Ashley. And Nadia.
That's Velma.
And there's me beaming in. I think that's it. So.
Oh yeah. So a good time was had by
Yeah.
all.
It was fun. If you missed it, we'll do it next year. Next year, should be technically on a Saturday,
On a
right?
Saturday, which means we should actually have more people. Yeah.
26 isn't a leap year, is it?
I don't know. You know what?
Leap year, then it's going to be on the. Then it's going to be on the
26th calendar right here in front of me. October 26th is a Saturday. Yep.
Okay, so no leap year.
So that'll be more fun. So yeah, everyone support Doug, and we missed you at Halloween. Halloween is a fun day for us.
We had fun giving candy out to the kids, doing the Scooby-Doo thing. We were dancing to the Scooby-Doo theme.
We were dancing every time. See, the Scooby-Doo, when James had the Mystery Machine and he has programmed the horn for some reason to play
like the Batmobile. Song. Yeah, it's the same thing like the Batmobile plays the Batman theme song.
So just to be fresh, he would just walk up and make the song play. So we would all start dancing.
Dancing every time he did it like idiots.
And afterward, we were frozen. My feet hurt because those shoes were horrible. We were frozen. I was frozen solid. I was so cold.
I was fine.
And the kids just kept coming. There was like hundreds of little kids.
This was probably the one few times where somebody stuck in one of those heavy costumes with the big head on, that I was fine.
You were warm.
I was not cold at all.
Let's give you a little polyester, a thin polyester costume.
I couldn't see anything because the holes for the eyes were like way out in front of me. So it was like I had this tunnel.
Yeah, you couldn't see. And the kids were little. It was like little kids. So
yeah,
poor Rizzo's trying to look out, and like little kids are coming up to him.
Coming up and grabbing me, and I'm like, giving me a hug and stuff. And I'm like, okay, somebody's hugging me, but we'll go with it. So it was.
But yeah, I guess it's open to all the surrounding towns, which I didn't know because they were like, I'm like, Ticonderoga only has a population of like 2,000 or 3,000. Where are all these children coming from? Like, I know these children are not. And I realized, it's like the surrounding area.
Yeah, probably some of like Crown Point, and they come down and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was insane,
nice.
Guys.
It's nice that they do that, and it was nice that it was on Halloween. A lot of towns, I know my town does theirs in the park, but they did it the week before. They didn't do it on Halloween, so I don't know. Yeah. We were really lucky, our generation. I think in prior generations that got to go around door to door, and it was a thing, without our parents. I mean, I know I lived in an area where that was, most houses were on 1 acre lot. So you just on one street, you just go down and one house after the other. And, you'd fill a pillowcase with candy.
Yeah.
But now everything is
you're one of the so-called feral Gen X kids who just ran feral and.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. You came in when your mother called you.
Yeah. I'm Gen X, but my mother never played that game. Hell no.
Oh, yeah. No, Halloween, pretty much when you got to a certain age.
They were in the car driving alongside with us.
Yeah, when I was real little, my dad did that.
No, my mother still did that right up until, like, finally I was like 8, 9, 10. And I was like,
no. You went, I'm meeting up with so-and-so. We're going to go here. And we used to go across the main road to the next neighborhood. And sure enough, all of a sudden, there's my parents at some other friends of theirs house that they're over there. And yeah, no, it was.
My mother could suck the joy out of everything.
Well, that was rare for believe me, I understand that.
Yeah, for Gen X, like Gen X was
just my parents were a lot of no's to do stuff. So I understand where you're coming from. But that was one thing we were
all right.
To discuss, so.
That's all we got tonight for the news. Well, that was a long news segment tonight.
I know we have to show you.
What are we drinking?
What we talk
about?
It's called the Mini Nuke, which is a weapon in the game, which is a literally a shoulder-fired nuclear weapon.
It's Everclear.
So I gotta. So there's if you guys, Everclear is basically grain alcohol.
Yes,
that's what it is. So do not ever drink this straight. You will go blind.
Or worse.
I'm not even. That's not a joke. Okay, do not drink Everclear straight. You always mix it with something. So, and then 151's right up there, right next to it. So you have an ounce of Everclear, an ounce of 151, and then 8 ounces of Mountain Dew. So you're diluting it quite a bit. And then you take basically a shot, which is about 1.5 ounces. shot glass of nuke waste, which is a vodka. It's like a melon flavored vodka, and you drop it in like a, what do they call that? An Irish car bomb. You drop
Oh, Lord.
or a Boilermaker, and you
You're
drop
thinking
that
of a
in there,
Molotov cocktail, as I think what I
and
think
you
you're thinking
drink
of.
that sucker. And I would have one, and I think that's all you'd need.
Everclear rum Mountain Dew, which of course is
Yeah.
highly caffeinated.
Yes, so it's I would think this is a one and done kind of drink. But anybody who wishes to try that, you're welcome to come on the show.
Yeah,
and
try to
actually do it
report
while
back. I want to hear if you're still
I'm not
alive.
drinking it. I don't
I
have
see
the
you on
151 or the Mountain Dew or the. I have
Oh,
You
yeah,
could
yeah.
probably skip the Everclear, stick with the 151, and probably go with, instead of vodka, go with melon liqueur, which is less alcohol.
Yeah,
You'd
that
tone
would
it
be-
down. You'd tone it down quite a bit.
Yeah, it'd be still super. It'd be toned down in alcohol, but it'd still be sugar. It'd be all sugar.
Well, I mean, that's what alcohol is.
Oh yeah.
Anyway. Anywho.
Well,
all right. Fallout, the TV series. Obviously, those of you guys must know by now, it's based on a video game that came out in 1997. Little trivia, by the way, in the TV show at the very end, he gives the code to unlock the fusion.
yes, 10.
That
10,
number is
97.
the date the first game ever. That little tidbit. That was the date the
Yep.
first game was released. You do not need, the beauty of Fallout TV show is you don't need to be a fan of the games or even have any understanding of what the games are to enjoy the TV show. At least that's my feeling. Now, I'm a big fan of the games. You may have guessed by now. Boy, all my Pip Boys and shit that I collect. But I think the show, what they did well with it is they drew from the source material of the games, and then they created their own story within that universe. And it's a very vast universe. There's tons of, they're not hold by any means, because they can jump around in time. So the basic is, in 2076, there was a nuclear war. And that's basically what caused the world to be a wasteland. But prior to that, there's a company called Vault-Tec that built these underground vaults that were preparing for. So just to back up, the kind of the world that they built is, or the world prior to the war,
kind of like the 1950s.
It's like 1950s. So after the Second World War, the bomb had dropped. Everybody thought atomic everything, right? And so in this story, they basically, instead of using it just for bombs, they harnessed nuclear power. So like everything. So shortly after the war, they had everything from robots and, like all kinds of stuff. So the feel of the game, or what was prior to the war, was what 1950s America felt the future would be. So if you look at their cars, still have a very 50s Art Deco
very 50s
look
vibe.
to them.
The clothing,
music is very kind of 50s sounding. A lot of that crooner kind of music.
the sort of men and women and the party that she's throwing, and it's very
it's very 50s 60s. But you have robots that will tend to you. These ones, they kind of float, fly around and do stuff. The cars are fusion powered. You have all this stuff. So prior to that, there's all these companies. That's where they get really deep. They really built a very vast world that is more than just, there's a bunch of ways. The backstory to the world before it blew up is really the important part of the games and stuff, because it sets up so much for stuff that happens in the game.
Yes, and that's kind of what's being revealed slowly across season 1.
Well, I'm getting to that. I'm trying to give them enough backstory. People that don't know.
Keep going.
We have companies like Vault-Tec. So Vault-Tec built all these vaults, over 100 vaults all over, and they're where people would go in, and they're all self-sustaining. So you could buy your spot in the vault. You would live in the vault for however many years until they felt it was safe to come back to the surface. They were, like I said, they're self-sustaining. They had farming and all this stuff down there. What they didn't know, or the American people didn't know, is that Vault-Tec sold out some of the vaults to other companies like Westech. Now, Westech was a military company. They built weapons, and they were messing around with super soldier formulas. So they were using some of their vaults that they kind of bought from Vault-Tec or rented from Vault-Tec to do experiments. So basically, in the game, almost all the vaults have some kind of experiment going on and experimenting on the people that went into these vaults, whether it be just social experiments or actual scientific experiments they were doing on these people. There are a few sprinkled throughout the wasteland that were just left alone to be normal governed societies. So in the TV show, you have Vault 30, 31, and 32. That was a triangle. Now, these didn't exist in any of the games, so this is new for the TV show. And we find out that there's a connection between the three. They're actually, which is unusual, they're the only ones that are like this, where the three are connected by tunnels, but they're sealed from each other normally. They're not, you can't go from one to the other freely. So basically in the TV show, what they do is they flip back and forth between post-war, like 100 years past the bombs dropping, to, I guess, a few years prior. And we follow this one character called Cooper Howard, who in the before war was a Hollywood actor. I'm trying to think of the actor who would be kind of like Clint Eastwood sort of character. He did westerns, or more like maybe what's his
hero, and he was a lot of westerns.
He's a lot of westerns, and he did I'm trying to think of a popular western.
Not Lauren Green. Who did the western shows back then?
Yeah, almost like a. So anyway, so he was but his wife worked for Westech, or excuse me, for Vault-Tec.
Vault-Tec.
And he finds out that basically we find out, and spoiler alerts, by the way, but if you don't hear this part, by the end of the show, of this season, we find out that these companies actually were the ones that started the war, because they realized that they need to, that's the only way they could justify their existence. In other words, to control the world. It's kind of hard. They explain it better in the show than I do. But basically, there was a war going on between communism and the United States, or the Western world. There was a regular ground war that had been raging for quite a while, and had never turned, but it was actually the Vault-Tec and the other companies that launched the first strike so they could say basically what they want to do was wipe the world clean, have all the people of the vaults controlled, and then they could remake the world in their image, so to speak, or what they thought was right. Didn't work out the way they wanted it to.
Corporate ethics. It's always about corporate ethics.
All greed and everything about control. So that's kind of the basic story. So, but Cooper Howard actually, so now there's other characters and he is what's called a ghoul.
Yes, he becomes a ghoul.
Ghouls are irradiated humans that didn't die from radiation. It mutated them to the point where but they basically their bodies decay.
Their bodies decay.
They don't really die.
Desiccated. He has no nose.
Yeah, they don't. But yeah, they have. So he doesn't have a nose. He's missing his nose by the time we see him in the after war parts. And he's of course now a bounty hunter. He's not a nice guy at all. But there are two kinds of ghouls. There's the kind of ghoul that's just basically their brain is intact, it's just their bodies are this kind of weird irradiated thing. And then there's feral ghouls, which have lost the radiation has finally chewed up their brain, and they're just wild. And all they want to do is kill people. They have no control, or they're gone. So we only saw that really at the very end, but they're very common in the game, the feral ghouls. And then there's also different factions that we have post-war that are important to mention. We have the Vault Dwellers, of course. Then there are the next ones that are kind of introduced is the Brotherhood of Steel, which is the
Brotherhood of Steel. Yep.
So the Brotherhood of Steel is basically what the army became, and their goal, they kind of became sort of this almost cult type organization.
Religious overtone.
Yeah. Very, very zealot, and their goal is to collect all the technology that's left and keep it to themselves or protect it so that basically man won't blow themselves up again. That's kind of there, but it's on a religious basis, not religious in the sense of God and stuff, but they become zealots with it. So you have these guys, but they control a lot of technology. They have aircraft, they have the power armor suits, so they're fairly powerful. Then there's one that they only briefly mentioned in the TV show, which was the Enclave. The Enclave is basically what the federal government became.
Oh yeah, they mentioned it getting on toward the end, and I think season 2 is gonna. Because I think the Enclave is New Las Vegas.
Well, the Enclave is in all the games, so it's there. So,
Okay.
so basically, what they're leading to. So at the very end, we see one of our main characters comes over a hill, and he's looking down into the valley of what used to be Las Vegas, and that's what's called New Vegas. That was a game in and itself, Fallout New Vegas. Which a lot of people would contend that was one of the best games of the whole series was Fallout New Vegas. I've only played parts of it, so I can't really speak to it. I don't have that much time on my hands. So yeah, so they definitely. So again, my point as I'm getting to is that they definitely are catering to the fans of the games. And I think they're doing it better than a lot of other genres have done, where they're pulling from the source material really well. There's a ton of Easter eggs in this for those of us that are fans of the show, and I feel like I'm taking up all the time. So
well, no, let me just say this: I've never. So Rizzo's played some of the games. I've never played any of the games. I still loved this show. I wasn't lost. Okay, maybe there are a few things I was like, well, now what the heck is that? But then as the show goes on, you kind of figure it out, right? I wasn't lost. I wasn't confused. You could plainly understand the storyline and what was going on. It's quirky. Can I call it quirky? It's not weird.
Yeah. So I know what you're getting at. So the game has a kind of it's serious, but it also has a sense of humor on itself.
Yes, it has a sense of humor.
There's a certain
despite the fact that nuclear holocaust has happened.
Yeah, because even everything is it's hard to describe, but even the advertising from before the day was very
that the 1950s tongue-in-cheek.
It was tongue-in-cheek, but it was also oh, here you can have the sugar bomb rad, and it has real radiation in it or something. Stuff like that kind of thing. There's Nuka-Cola Quantum, which actually glows with it was they didn't care. Typical corporate America didn't give a crap about what they were giving to people as from a safety
corporate
standpoint.
ethics. Everything's about corporate ethics,
so
guys.
Stuff like that. It was kind of funny. That there was always kind of this weird side to it, this kind of sick side to it. So it's kind of funny in that sense. I love the feel of the universe, the way it's just kind of art.
Yeah, I like the feel. I guess what I was trying to say is if you just listened to Rizzo go on for 10 minutes about this show and thought yourself, I've never played this game. This is the most confusing thing. I'm not going to get this. No. You're going to get it. You're going to be fine. You're going to watch it. You're going to love it.
That's why I started with that. I'm like, you can watch the show.
You can watch the show without having played the game. And you can still love the show as I do without having ever played the game. And now I actually am kind of curious to go check out the game.
Yeah, I mean, probably what I would tell you is play Fallout 4.
You just go right to Vegas.
Fallout. No, New Vegas came out before Fallout 4.
Oh.
You could start. I think as far as if you really want Fallout 4 has the most modern graphics and stuff like that. It has
explains the one thing is Cooper, our hero, before the bombs dropped, he was the poster boy for Vault-Tec. And he posed with a thumbs up, and thumbs up has a dual meaning. When the bombs drop, you put your thumb out to the mushroom cloud, and it tells you if the cloud is bigger than your thumb, it's so there he is.
Vault Boy. Yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing back even in the 50s. That was a real thing.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
It didn't actually work. But the idea was that if you stuck your hand,
this mushroom cloud,
and the mushroom cloud could be hidden behind the thumb, you were safe. If it wasn't, you better run. If it's really outside your thumb, don't bother.
Yeah. So there's all of those kinds of things sprinkled throughout.
Right. So you'll always see the little Vault Boy usually with the thumbs up, and that's what it is. It's always about That's where the thumbs up came from. But yeah, and then oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say. So should we? You kind of gave. I was gonna say, do you want to talk about? Also, they have something called the golden rule. The golden rule is thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every single time. And it was applicable, like the gamers came up with it because the gamers were like, I would just log on to do one simple little thing, and I thought it would take me like 15 minutes, and like 3 hours later, I was still screwing around on the game because these things are time sucks. Like they're absolute time sinks. And so, but like that's the golden rule. The golden rule is thou shalt get sidetracked, but it kind of applies in the show. Like they're going off to do things, and as they're trying to get stuff done, other stuff is happening and getting them confused. But I was going somewhere for a second. Now I forgot where.
Yeah, so the basic storyline is we meet Lucy, who's our main character. She's the vault dweller. Their vault is
33.
They open the vault to vault 32. They're in vault 33 to do an exchange because of DNA. We'll call it. We're gonna have some. So she was gonna get married. She was gonna get married to this other guy that she'd never met from 32. Turns out 32 had been already opened and invaded by raiders. That's another faction. The raiders basically, when they opened, they kind of mimicked that they were pretending to be the other vault dwellers, but then they turned on them and
started killing.
And eventually the vault 33 people were victorious, but Lucy's father, who was the overseer is like the mayor of each vault, was kidnapped and taken away. And she basically decides that she's going to go out into the wasteland to find her father. That's the basis of the show. She eventually runs into Cooper Howard, who I think he just goes by the bounty hunter or whatever. Nobody knows who he was in his past. He's just a bad guy now. But then there's a third guy who comes from the Enclave, who is basically hides the technology for fusion nuclear power as opposed to fission. And he hides it in his head, like a chip thing.
Yeah.
And he realizes that he wants to get it to the Brotherhood of Steel for some reason.
Yeah.
And he eventually he gets hurt and he realizes he's not going to make it. And he actually kills himself and has Lucy cut the head off. He's like, just get the head.
Just get my head to this place. And she's like,
yeah. So there's this whole thing where they're basically everybody's after the head.
Yeah, everyone's after the head. Her thing, she says okie dokie a lot, and then she's like, well, I'm not into cousin stuff.
Yeah, well, she's very innocent in a lot of ways. Yeah. They're all very innocent in the vault. They live a very, it's not a puritanical life, because sex seems to be kind of nonchalant, because she's even like, do you want to have sex or what?
Yeah. It is kind of weird.
It's like this very,
she was into like fencing and history. Like, I don't know.
It's just like kind of trying how to put it. Like the people in the vault are they're very innocent and in the way of like certainly of war, but they're also very
small group. So they're
all like very happy and like, like that. Yeah. I don't know how to put it. Yep. You watch it. You'll understand.
They're like,
but she's learning quickly not to trust.
Really optimistic.
Yeah, she also learned very quickly not to trust anybody. Up on the surface, there's, like I said, once we get up there, there's a ton of. There's the whole thing with the chicken, the guy that wants to mate with the chicken. I don't know if you caught that part. There's one that's actually a character from the game, the chicken effer. They actually put people were like, I can't believe they put the chicken. So little things like that. The one thing the knights, so the Brotherhood of Steel have the guys that are in the power armor are called knights, and then they have a squire that will help and follow them around, and just like in medieval times. But you'll see the squires carrying this massive duffel bag that's bigger than them are. They're dragging all this stuff. That again, that wasn't in the game, but that was a reference to the game, because you always carry, if you played any of these first-person shooters that are kind of what do you call it, role playing, you carry all this stuff that no human would normally be able to
You
carry.
have these backpacks
You have
of
backpacks and stuff, but I mean, it's like that
they're
was the
like
joke. Is that
TARDIS
you're always dragging
backpacks.
around all this stuff to play the game, and it's that's kind of the joke that they were saying. So there's a ton of like some of the monsters in there are all from the game. The big lizard sort of salamander thing that attacks Lucy, that he calls a gulper. Those are all in the game. They look a little different in the game than they did there. They took a little license. What's
his name in Vault 4 is like, that was my uncle on my mother's side. You're like, what?
Because in Vault 4, again, that's when one of the experiments was they were doing genetic experiments with seeing if they could make people more radiation resistant by mixing DNA with other animals that are radiation.
Spoiler alert, didn't go that well.
Clearly there was some mutations as a result of that. They were funny because the one guy that has the one eye, he's like a cyclops, and he's just like, totally normal. One guy had a nose in the middle of his head.
Yeah, that was Chris Parnell. Chris Parnell. He plays and everything. He plays a bunch of voices.
Does a lot of voiceover work.
He's around. Yeah.
So
I'm thinking of Michael Emerson. He played Siggy Wilsig, the guy who had the dog meat.
Yep.
He's the one whose head gets like this show is packed full of all these celebrities.
Dogmeat is Dogmeat is a very important character. He's in the game. Again, that's a companion you'll have walk around with. You can have Dogmeat, which is just a dog. And that's what he's called, Dogmeat. So that was great. They had to put Dogmeat in there. That was like almost a must. The other thing they got right was the aircraft there, the Vertibots. Look exactly like the game. Even the laser rifles that they're using look exactly like that in the game. They nailed it. One of the things when they go to Philly, which is not Philadelphia, Philly is called Philly because it was built on a landfill, which is a town that they said they did such a good job of giving you the feel of what it would feel like.
Of what Philly was like,
Philly wasn't a real place in the game, but it was where you will run into different settlements like that, and everything's kind of cobbled together out of other junk, and that's basically what they did. There is a scene just that they shot. So there's another company, Red Rocket, which is a gas station chain, and they're all over the place. They have a very unique look. There's a scene where they're at a Red Rocket, an old gas station. Well, that gas station was actually in Glen Falls, New York.
Really?
Found it there. They found it was a very 1950s. It had the right look to it. It was still an old, very design from like a 50s stout gas station, and they were able to just change a few things and add the Red Rocket
in post. Is that what you're saying?
And it was a Red Rocket, and they did a really good job of making it look like a Red Rocket that was in the game. You run into all over the place. Red Rockets, again, in the game are a place where, if you see one, there's going to be a stash box there that you can put your stuff into. That's your stash box. There's certain things that when you see a Red Rocket, there are certain things that they put in the game that are there almost like way stations for the characters. So Red Rockets are one of those things like, oh, okay, I know there's going to be a couple of workbenches in there, and there's going to be my storage bins in there. Again, if you don't play these games regularly, you might not understand what I'm talking about, but they're done purposely. They're thrown out all over the place. Same thing with in certain games, railroad stations are big for that. So again, they did a really good job of using that in the game. Even the radio, they get towards one of the later episodes where they're at the radio station.
Yeah, Fred Armisen's at the radio station.
The radio station is playing like this horrible violin music. That's kind of in the game, because on your Pip-Boy, you can dial different radio stations in, and they will come and go as you travel around the wasteland. You can travel, dial into different radio stations and listen to different music as you walk around. So they did a really good job. I have to give Amazon.
They did. The casting is really good. Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, of course. Where's our casting?
We got Walton Goggins as the ghoul.
Walton Goggins is the ghoul, aka
Awesome. He's so good as the ghoul.
Super
And
Howard.
I really liked him in White Lotus, but I like him so much better.
Well, he's been. I mean, you go back. His he was in. I think the first thing I really saw him in was he was in with Timothy. Where he plays the martial art. Not he plays the Walton Goggins plays the bad guy. Hang on, I'll tell you in a second.
He's talking about that. Oh, he's been in a bunch.
He's been in a ton of stuff.
Why can't I think of about that? Other standouts for me was Leslie Uggams. You know Leslie. She plays one of the Vault leaders. She played Blind Al in Deadpool, the Deadpool movies. And then there's Zach Cherry. You guys know Zach Cherry from Severance. He's amazing. Matt Berry. Matt Berry is a friend of Cooper's back before the bomb drop. Matt Berry plays in What We Do in Shadows. You know his voice.
Yeah,
Even if you don't know the name, you know his voice.
You know his voice, but Fallout players know his voice even because he plays the voice of one of the robot models.
Yes.
So he always plays like the butler robot. So you always get that voice that he has.
Walton Goggins was in Son of Anarchy, and he was also in Justified.
Justified was the one I was trying with Timothy Oliphant. That's the show I was talking. That's the first place. So in Sons of Anarchy, he played a trans woman, which was really hysterical. He played because he played it so well, and he played like you wouldn't never guess. You'd almost like, is he really like if you didn't know him as the actor, you'd be like, okay, they got a trans woman to play.
No, it's Walton.
Yeah, it's Walton. He's of course he's been on he's been on kind of a rise lately.
Yeah, he has. We've got Kyle MacLachlan as Lucy's dad, as one of the people who kind of sets this whole thing in motion, sort of. And then there's just a whole bunch of, like I said, Michael Emerson. You guys know Michael Emerson. He's been in a million TV shows over the years, but he was on Lost. I mentioned Fred, and he's been in a million things since. Fred Armisen is in there. Michael T. Williamson. Like, there's just so many like little cameos, people just popping up, playing something, and then wandering off. And people, you go, I know that person.
Yeah, I mean the kid that played Thaddeus, who was the other squire that gets his foot crushed.
Yeah, he's around a lot too.
Yeah, so he's been tough. If you watch, he was really funny in Superstore. I don't know if you ever watched Superstore.
Yeah, Superstore.
That was a good show. So I'm trying to think of there was somebody else I was going to mention here that we Ella Purnell. Ella Purnell's been in a ton of stuff.
Ella's around. She got the big in this show. She's got the huge eyes, great big, huge round.
Yeah, eyes. I know. It's like her eyes are like.
Did they? Yeah, she's in Yellow Jackets too.
Yeah, she was in Yellow Jackets. I didn't care for that show, but
I didn't care for it. She was in Star Trek Prodigy. If that
she was, she does a bunch of voiceover work. Yeah. So,
So yeah, it's really a great cast. But yeah, like I said, I was looking for a word. I still don't have the right word. It's not quirky. It is quirky. Like, it is quirky. It's different. It's got a light tone for very serious stuff. But ultimately, like everything else, it's down to corporate greed. Like every other good show and every other thing that we're battling in real life. Corporate greed is the name of the game. And corporate greed is going to be the name of the game for the entire 2000s.
Yeah, like I said, they have so much source material because, like I said, the lore within the games is so deep. Like I said, the companies alone, each company has their own backstory, if you will. Like I said, like Westech,
each of the corporations, because there's a scene where they're all sitting around the table talking. And they have their little nameplates.
Yeah, so like Westech, we know from the game, which we haven't seen yet in the TV show, is they accidentally developed super mutants. They were trying to make super soldiers. They came up with this but basically turned into these giant green monsters that are just, and they're kind of brainless. They're stupid. And they're all over the wasteland. One of the things that the new trailer alludes to that we haven't seen, which is a very popular enemy, is the Deathclaw. And we see it in the trailer because we just see its paw kind of thing come down. and
Yep.
like one of its eyes. We do see one when they're walking through the desert. I think right at the end when what's his name there, Kyle there, whatever, I can't think of his character's name. He's walking in. There's a skull of one. It has kind of these curled horns. You see the skull of the Deathclaw. Deathclaws are one of those ones in the game. Generally, until you're much higher level, you see one of those, you run the other way.
Yeah,
You're not. It's a very, very bad guy. It's like a giant. I don't know how to put it. Dinosaur sort of thing. So we get to see that. Yeah, there's tons of just little Easter eggy things that they left in there that.
and even if you don't see him or get him or know that it's Easter egg, doesn't matter. It's still a really great world building detail that makes you feel like you're stepping into a fully fledged universe, like you're stepping into this whole universe. You're like, oh wow, yeah.
So at the very last episode, when the sun goes into Vault 31,
brain on a Roomba.
Well, that's a Robo Brain, and it's
Robo Brain. Roomba. I'm gonna call it Roomba Brain.
It's a thing. That one isn't really accurate to, and I suspect he was a one-off. Because normally they're on a much bigger chassis and they're dangerous. They have weapons and stuff. But that was again another company was experimenting with, instead of putting a computer processor into a robot, why don't we just put a human brain into the robot? And that's kind of the sick, twisted stuff that the companies would do, and not thinking like the lore with Westech and the super mutants is they accidentally dumped the chemicals into the water supply to see what would happen.
Yeah. But like the brain on the Roomba, it's hilarious. Like it's a horrific concept, but it's not horror. Like he's sitting there, he has a needle and he wants to.
Yeah, he's trying to get it. Yeah,
stand still. Like it talks, it has a voice, and it's trying to roll, and it's getting caught on stuff.
The guy,
it's like,
you realize
still.
that's the character from before the war.
Yeah.
That was with Cooper's wife.
Yeah.
When they're in that's him. That's the guy, Brad. Remember, he said Brad.
Don't go any further. You went further. Yeah, it's just
Brad's Bros or something he called him. That's Brad. That's Brad, but he's just a brain now.
Now he's just a brain. It's just so funny.
It's hysterical when he comes across him. There's like a broom laying across some stuff, and he's stuck behind it, and he can't.
Yeah, he's just
figure out how to get around the broom.
Yeah,
like
where's the rest of the vault? This is the rest of the vault. Yeah, like it's yeah. Anyway, they've left off. They're going to New Vegas with the head, and they've restored some power to one of the cities.
Well, that was you're right. They got the fusion. They're up at this Raider camp, which is again, without going into all the
Buds.
Story, yeah. That's where they got the fission core, working, and it was so powerful. This little tiny thing that it fits in an ampule was able to power. They show was what was left of Los Angeles, and all the lights started.
Yeah, you see the light, like it shows you all the lights coming back on. And it's like
shows you how powerful that thing was, and that's what they're saying. If they could, but again, the company tried to squash it because they didn't want people to have unlimited free power because that would lose their power. But think about it. Think about it in this day and age. Imagine if they came out with something that we wouldn't have to worry about electricity anymore. We could run all the stuff we want.
It'd be great.
Without anything because it's so cheap and literally unlimited resources. I mean, you can think about electric cars would be a thing. Nobody would bother with gasoline or fuel, burning fuels anymore. So, but then what would happen? The oil companies would go out of business and all these other, you know what I'm saying? So who knows? We might have that technology, and they just did that. They bought the patent and buried it. So that's kind of what the underlying story is. But
so they're off to New
Vegas. We're the only two people that have watched this that are watching.
Yeah, there's only two people watching right now, so no one cares.
We got four. Are you watching?
I'm one of them, so whatever.
So we
probably have some on YouTube. We knew we wouldn't have Bill Sotek tonight. Happy anniversary, Bill Sotek.
Yeah, happy anniversary to. One is on Sci-Fi. Yeah, one's on YouTube, and 3 are on Facebook. So, but anyway, it's a good show. I know this wasn't going to be the best show for you guys, but I was excited to do it. I love Fallout so much. It's definitely one of my big fandoms up there with Star Trek and stuff.
Yeah, guys, it is different, but give it a try. Just give it a try. Watch 1 or 2 episodes, and see if you can go along for the ride. It's fun. It is fun.
Yeah, it's a good show. It really is. If you're just looking for entertainment, and it's only 8 episodes, I think. So it's not like you're talking a huge investment.
Yes, it is 8
Yeah, I
episodes.
just binged the last 4 or 5 to kind of catch up to refresh my memory. And I'm really getting. I got to be more excited for December to see the next season. I wish they would do more than 8 episodes, but
Yeah, me too. I agree with
it's
all
been
the
about a
people.
year and a half. It aired a year ago, April. So
Yeah,
it's going to be over a year and a half between series. As we talked about, this needs to stop. I really do think that if streaming services and networks or whatever you want to call it, production houses, they want to have people a little bit more invested in their product, they need to produce the product more often.
Yep, I agree.
And more of it.
I agree.
And I understand it's extremely expensive and you don't have the direct sales of advertising that you did, with broadcast TV. And also you had the, back in the day, you had the basic captive audience of broadcast.
Back in the day, we had 3 channels to choose
from.
from.
You had the three networks, the 4 networks
So
when Fox came around, and that was it. So you didn't have a lot of competition. That's why TV kind of sucked.
Yeah,
they could put out any piece of crap and people would watch it because it's on TV.
It's on TV. Heck, we could be on TV if we wanted to be.
Yeah. Everybody.
That's the other thing is people just make their own content now, like we're doing right here.
And there's some good stuff, I mean,
there's a lot of good stuff.
YouTube,
does anybody watch the shorts, the Bistro Huddy shorts? Those are hilarious. That should be an actual TV show. No, just me. Okay.
Anyway, right. So next week what's Roy is doing?
Oh, Roy's doing Enemy Mine, which we
did years ago with Dayton Ward.
With Dayton Ward, yep.
So,
he's doing it's the 40th anniversary of Enemy Mine, starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie. Phil will be playing some new tracks from an album called The Keeper of Scriptures by Flaming Row, which sounds really cool. It's kind of a rock opera where you fall into a parallel Earth where ABBA is a heavy metal band. That sounds like an interesting album.
Okay. That's bizarre.
He sent me the link. I'm going to check it out and listen to it and see what it's like.
That is bizarre. Yeah. So next week we are probably going to try. I think we're going to try to have Phil back. Actually,
we're going to try to have Phil back to do a movie that he insists is sci-fi. Even though
Phil does not share that, but it looks interesting. So I'm gonna. I think it's going to be a make me watch for both of us. Actually, right?
It will be a make me watch for both of us. Yeah.
So, and it is called?
It is called Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You. So it kind of starts out as telemarketers. It
starts as telemarketers and apparently takes a hard.
If you watch the trailer, go out there and watch the trailer. And I think I could see where it would go a little weird in sci-fi. So,
and then that's it. And then we're done for November, actually, guys. So.
Excuse me. Yep. Yeah, because we got Shatner, and we're not going to do the night before Shatner because we're all going to be getting ready for Shatner, and then after that is Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we won't.
And then I'm gone the following week. I'll be in Europe, and I don't come back till like the 9th or the 10th. But I think I'm going to need a break before I.
So
roll
our
back
next show,
the next show after next week, we're not going to have anything till like the week before Christmas.
Yeah, if you guys want to do the 17th, we'll be back on the 17th.
Yeah, but we'll be back next week.
A long break, almost a month off. That's a lot for us.
Yeah,
we don't usually
just a busy holiday season for me.
We'll probably have Christmas Eve off, but we might.
But we are. I'm thinking because I'm probably definitely going to do a quiet New Year's Eve after all the stuff and traveling
that you'll be doing in Europe. You have to tell us all about Europe. We can do New Year's Eve, and you can do Rizzo's European Adventure.
We'll see. Hopefully, the government will open up again soon, and I won't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then maybe we'll do something because Wednesday is New Year's Eve. It's a Wednesday, so maybe we'll do something fun. I don't know what we could do.
We'll have an online New Year's Eve party. Put the little hat on your head. And
there you go.
Those things that go. and we'll have ourselves a party.
Yay. Anyway.
Chris is like, I know where you work.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, go watch Fallout if you have Prime. It's worth it. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'd like to hear your feedback if you watch it. See what you think.
Yeah, if you check it out, let us know if you liked it.
Yeah. So, all right. So on that note, live long and prosper, and may the force be with you always. Good night. See you next week. Bye.